couldn't focus. And at that point, I think I forgot to look at somebody. Somebody that was there to help me. Somebody that could give me strength to do what I needed to do. But I wasn't. I was mad. It was flesh. I was mad at myself pretty much every single game because it was. It's just. Let's just say the person that you see right now wasn't the person a few years ago. I had to change my way. I had to fix myself so I can look up to God and ask Him for help. My family can say, but I used to have a bad temper, pretty much. I used to get mad, but now God's helped me with that. I get aggravated at times, and I get a little mad, but I don't get as mad as I used to for no reason. Like, little things used to make me so mad that I wasn't thinking. Put it that way. And it could be the little thing that you're not doing for God. It could be like that person sitting out there and saying this, like God tells you to go say like hello or something, just smile. Or one preacher, he told me the story that God told him to go in the middle of Walmart and stand up and do a handstand or something. And he was like, what? Like, why? Why do I need to do a handstand in the middle of Walmart? And he was like, okay. He goes in Walmart, does it, and touches somebody. And he was, I think it was I don't know who, I think it was a guy or something. He was about to, like, do backslid or something. And he told me that, ask God, is that I'll serve you if you have somebody walk in here and just do something crazy or something like that. I don't know. But what's my point is that the little things can get your mind off God. The little things can keep building up, and then you're standing here, and God's all over there. It's like, hello, are you looking at me, or are you looking at something else? Are you looking at something worldly? You're looking at something just. I don't really know how to put it, but just. What I'm trying to say is don't worry about the little things. Don't worry about your finances. Don't worry about, am I going to make this person happy? Am I going to make this thing, if I'm going to make, I'm going to help my family in some way, or I'm going to try to fix this in some way, or it's just, you don't need to worry about those things. It just amazes me. There's one kid in my classroom, and he would get so nervous about where he has to present to the classroom, and he would lose his words when he got up there. And he would not he would really hold the paper like this and barely look over it, and if somebody looked at him, he would do this. And that's how bad it was. And I walked up to him one day, I said, why are you so nervous when you get up there? He's like, I don't think I can talk. I don't know what it is. I told him, just focus on, look at the back wall. Look at something that you can keep your eyes on, and there's nothing. It's just you and that thing or that person. It's just you talking to your family. Just imagine your family sitting back there. And the reason I'm saying is because you can imagine God's back there, and you're looking at God, and you're asking Him to help you, and you're asking Him for everything you need, and you're asking Him just to fix what problems you have. And I know there's some people that are new Christians, and it's kind of complicated at first, but if you just look to God for your problems and look for things that go wrong, that it can easily be fixed. Easily be fixed. I'm just going to give this over to Jacob, and he has something he's going to say.
Well, I, for one, do not claim to be a preacher, but I do definitely have a message to give to you people today. And I'm going to be in a couple verses for two of them. And to start off with, I want to address a problem that Christians have in general. That it's a new thing. It's a thing that new Christians just have. And if you flip over with me to Acts chapter 17, verse 27. it says, that they should seek the Lord, if haply they might feel after him, and find him, though he be not far from every one of us. While my brother talked about not serving two masters, a lot of Christians have problems knowing how to serve God in the first place. And what this verse here, I want to tell you guys that God is never far from us. And that there is a problem that a lot of new Christians have. I know for one that I've had this problem. And this problem is having this feeling that God is far away. We, as Americans, have this weird stereotype that God is just a big guy in the sky. But we forget to remember that God is everything, anything. He's a God who created everything. He's a God that is, was, and ever will be. Okay? He is a God that surrounds us all. So, when it comes to us of feeling, oh God, I don't know how to reach out to you, he's literally just one step away. At all times. He's always there with you. But it's these mental barriers that we put up ourselves that prevent us from reaching out to God. So you may be asking, how do I break down these mental barriers if I want to reach over to God? And for that, I want to ask you to go over to Matthew chapter 13, verse 23. And it says, but he that receives seed into the good ground is he that heareth the word and understandeth it, which also beareth fruit and bringeth forth some 100-fold, some 60, some 30. Now, I want to give you guys an acronym. I'm sure a lot of you have heard of the acronym PUSH, pray until something happens. Well, the acronym I want to give you is called P.R.A.Y. And it's a very simple one. Prayer, read, accept, and yield. The P, prayer. Prayer is how you wield the weapon of God. Prayer is how you communicate with God. It's how God speaks to you. It's what guides you through this life. If you feel you're separated from God, prayer is what you want to do. But however, if prayer is the way you wield the weapon, what exactly is the weapon? And that is where R comes in. Read. The weapon is the word. Okay. And so, if you truly want to get closer to God, you got to know what God is all about. And God has this very big, long book that's very long, lots of many pages, just to explain to you who He is, what His plan is to you, and how to help you. It is a book that tells you how to be a good human being for God and living with God and accomplishing His work. That is what this book is. And it is the Word of God. So, it's a pretty awesome book. So, you have to pray, you got to read, but you can't just do that alone. You have to accept it into your heart. That is where the A comes in, acceptance. You have to live this Word. You got to accept it into your heart with open arms, and you have to live and thrive with this Word and follow it. It is essential for a Christian to be a good Christian. To be a Christian in general, you have to read the Bible. Because it is what guides you through this. It is the weapon, as I brought up. And if you don't understand what any of this is about, reading it just isn't simple enough. You have to know this. You have to accept it into your own heart and live it. So, now that you know how to pray, you know how to read, you know how to accept it, what's the Y stand for? It stands for yield. Okay, and if you look back at the verse, it says in 23, in 23, it said, and that he received seed into the good ground, so that heareth the word and understandeth it, which also beareth fruit, and bringeth forth some 100-fold, some 60, some 30. Y stands for yield. And as Christians, you are going to have to yield your work. After you pray, you read, you accept this, God will eventually guide you and tell you what He wants you to do. And that is where you have to yield. And I want to ask you a simple question. Can a plum tree grow apples? Okay? Now that might sound ridiculous, and indeed, it pretty much is. A plum tree can't grow apples. You need to look at Christians like that. Okay? if you're meant to do one work, let's say, well, for example, you be a plum tree. You're meant to grow plums. Or let's say, if you're meant to preach. But if you're trying to do someone else's work, then you're not doing your own work, you're not going to have a very good time. Just like how a plum tree can't grow apples, you have to grow plums. Okay? So a preacher has to preach. They have to accomplish what God has set before them. They can't go accomplishing other people's work and ignoring their own duties when they have something to fulfill.
Amen. Yes.
And to top this all off, you don't have to go to this verse if you don't want to, but it's a very wonderful verse indeed. Acts chapter 18, verse 9. Verse 9. It says, "Then spake the Lord to Paul in the night by a vision. Be not afraid, but speak, and hold not thy peace." So, when God tells you to yield your fruit, and you're actually yielding your fruit like a good little Christian, because you're not growing apples, then that sounded ridiculous what I was saying.
Listen.
God doesn't want you to hold back your tongue. He wants you to step out in the world to accomplish His work. And the verse right after that says, "For I am with thee, and no man shall set on thee to hurt thee, for I have much people in the city." This means that God Himself will always be with you, and you will always have people to help you throughout your journey. And while it can get really rough at times, God is still with you. And you will be able to grow your plums like you're supposed to, if you follow. But I believe it's all I have to speak today. I thank you. But